Hello everybody, I hope you're all well. I'm here today to make a short review of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I'm really proud that I read this. I started it back in June and I put it down for so many times and for so many reasons. Reason number one, it's a very heavy book. Reason number two, I was reading it in the summer in the car and the bus, and because my hands were sweaty, the red color starting to take off, so it's a bit damaged now. It's not as impeccable as it used to be, and it became a bit dirty. But all in all, I am so proud and very happy that I read this book. I really liked it. This is the extended version. It has all the text that Hugo really wrote. However, there are some parts that are left at the end, so if you wish to read it, you can read it. If not, they are not harming the story if they are taken out. So I didn't read those because they were actually selected and put it in the back. It's a very long story and it's a very complex story, and I could not stop myself from comparing it to War and Peace, because War and Peace is also complex and long, and it has this philosophical side of the author writing what is good, what is bad. The storyline is very complex and it goes on for 17 years, and I will try to give a short, very short line of the story. So it starts with Jean Valjean being released from prison. He has been there for 20 years. His family was starving and he stole some bread or something like this, and he was imprisoned, and he tried to escape multiple times, and because of this he stayed for 20 years. So he is released from prison and he goes to a small city, I think Digne, and because of his ex-convict, he had to register in the city hall, and the news spread in the city that he is there, and nobody wanted to let him to stay overnight in the small city. The only person that allowed, and he was treated worse than a dog. The book presents it very well. The only person that allowed him to stay overnight and have dinner was Bishop Muriel. Bishop Muriel is one of the kindest bishop and one of the kindest characters of the book. He's very well with the poor, with the needy, and so he hosts Jean Valjean for one night, and it's very well described, the experience of eating at the table and having clean sheets after so long and after all that bad treatment. During the night, Jean Valjean decides to run from Bishop Muriel and to steal his silverware, because this might help him in the future have a better life. And of course the police catches him, and he's brought back to the Bishop Muriel, and he said, no, I gave the silverware to him, and by the way, you forgot the the silver candlesticks that I gave you. And so the police released him, and this is the pivotal moment when he changed. He started changing. He saw that not everybody sees in him a bad character and a lost soul. So Jean Valjean took a different name, and several years later he was already a wealthy man, just because he was really smart and practical about a lot of things. So he started helping out the community, a lot of people started working for him, and this led to his election as a mayor. Among those people that he helped, there was this girl Fontaine, has her own tragic story on a side, and it's very well described how she got to this point to meet Jean Valjean. And she has a daughter, Cosette. Cosette is in the care of the family Thénardier, and it's a separate story. So basically Fontaine starts working for Jean Valjean, and he promises to take care of her daughter. Unfortunately for Jean Valjean, there are some things happening that he must reveal, that forces him to reveal his true identity, and everybody of course is shocked, because he has become a respectful member of the society, and nobody believed that that is true except one police inspector, Javert. He is on to Jean Valjean like it's his life at stake. He has chased this man throughout the whole book until the end. But he wants to fulfill a promise he made to Fontaine to see what is happening to Cosette and to make sure that she is okay and she is safe. So he runs away from Javert and goes to find Cosette. Now Cosette, again, she has her own story, and it's very well described how her life was going on. And also the family of Thénardiers, they all have their own story and their own drama and tragedies. But the idea is that Jean Valjean and Cosette stay together. He's taking care of her. She's only 6 or 7 years old, and they go away together. They disappear, and it goes on for a couple of years after Cosette becomes a little bit older and she is a teenager. Here things change a bit. Here comes into the story another character, Marius Pontmercy. Again, he has his own background, very well developed, starting with his father, with his grandfather. He was in a big conflict with his grandfather because of their political views, because of their life views, liberal views, conservative views, imperialistic views. The whole background is very well presented. Marius falls in love with Cosette. They start a secret adventure, more or less, and in the end, everything is well. No more spoilers because I want people to read and enjoy their own experience. My favorite parts of the book were the moment of Jean Valjean meeting Bishop Myriel and how he changed his life, and it gave me the impression that Bishop Myriel actually knew what he was doing. He knew that he would change this person's life, and it's very interesting to read the changes in Jean Valjean throughout the whole book. He is the one that changes the most. I think he's like gold, you know, you take a piece of gold and you put it in the heat and you make several jewels and then melt it again, make another jewel. I feel that this is Jean Valjean. Gold describes him. All the characters go through dramatic changing. It starts with their interior feelings, interior attitude, and it goes throughout their actions. So this was my favorite part. I feel like I've not read anything as detailed as the transformation in Javert or the transformation in Jean Valjean. I really liked it. Another part was the relation between Marius and his grandfather. I was very, very impressed with how accurate and well is presented, and it's not correct, but it's accurate even for today, the relationship between younger generation and older generation and all that jazz. Another favorite moment was the young meeting with Marius and his friends, where they were discussing life views, including political, whatever, economical and historical views, and they were speaking freely, and that was so important for them. They were right before the revolution, especially for Marius, because he had his convictions, but at the same time he said, okay, I'm gonna stay and listen because I was listened, and I appreciated that. So that was one of the strongest points of the book. Of course, as my favorite parts will include all the times when Jean Valjean and Cosette escaped Javert. Those will be my favorite times. Another favorite moment is the life of Gavroche and how he accidentally finds his brothers. They don't know that they're brothers because they were separated when they were younger. Of course, another story. And he hosts them in the belly of a huge iron animal where he lives. And I thought that moment was incredible. It really showed Les Miserables. It really showed the life of the people that had the least. So it was really, really amazing. Some parts I did not like, and there are just a few elements. Of course, it's a classics and it has to be very long and extended and full of descriptions. And if I feel that if we take out those parts, the story will not suffer at all. Even if we take out some of the stories related to the characters, the main story will not suffer at all. So I really would have enjoyed to read less about the Battle of Waterloo. Not 19 chapters. Honestly, I thought I'm going to die. 19 chapters. And it's also extended on the monasteries, on the religious aspect, on the sewers of Paris, on the prison life, many aspects, and I wished it was a little bit less, but of course we have to give it credit because it's a classics. Second point that I didn't like, the love story between Marius and Cosette. When they declare their love for the first time, it's Marius that sends a letter. That was the lamest letter I have ever read. Love letter. I was laughing with tears going. It was very lame. Even for them, even for that time. It did not contain anything about love. It was just nonsense. Oh my god, my hand hurts. It's a very heavy book. And it was a bit irritating that some characters were at the right time, at the right moment, without any, construction going to that point. And it was a bit idealistic, and most especially when Jean Valjean was in the sewage system. There was no sign that Thénardier is going to be there as well. I mean, it has to be one in a million chance that they would meet there again. So it was a bit idealistic. There was nothing left to, to say, oh, that was unfair and a loose end of the story. No, all the connections were coming to the right time and the right place. And that was a bit frustrating because usually in life it's not that. But that's the book and we have to love it as it is. I don't regret reading it. I recommend it to everybody. It's an amazing book to read. It shows so much of the philosophy of the time, and you find great parts to meditate upon, and you will find your own lovely character that you can love or don't love. So it's a lovely book. 4 stars or 4.5 stars if I could. And I really loved it. I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye!